Hey folks, it is Casey here, co-founder and executive director of Hey. And if this is your first time catching us for some reason, Hey is short for Helping Empower Youth, where our mission is to inspire, motivate, and mobilize young people to take action that changes their world. And I am on here just to give you an update, right? So y'all know that I do these pretty frequently to let folks know what is happening, what is going on, what can you expect as the days and the weeks and the months go by. And I had a little bit of time before a 1 o'clock appointment. And so I wanted to make sure that I got you in the loop. And before I go any further, happy birthday to my mommy. Today is my mommy's birthday. She is in Virginia. And yes, I've talked to her and wished her happy birthday and sent her some goodies. But if y'all want to share some love or show some love to Mama Joyce, you can do that in the comments as well. So now that my obligation as a daughter, as a good daughter, is out the way, I wanted to give you again just some insight into what is happening. So most of you know that we have been renovating the Mother Catherine Johnston house to be used as our primary place of programming. And we're super excited because there's lots of things happening in the background. And I know that I've been teasing a lot about this really huge announcement, and we can't say anything yet, but I promise you in the next couple of weeks, we'll be able to share what that huge announcement is. We're taking steps and we're moving closer and closer to it. But we want to make sure it's right. And we want to make sure that we have all of the answers that you're going to have once we release this particular announcement. So keep us in your prayers related to that. Keep sending us lots of love as it goes towards us really being able to renovate the house in a really meaningful way, right? In addition to that, we have the porch, the front deck finished, about 98% finished, right? So now the next move is going to be adding a ADA compliant, an American Disabilities Act compliant ramp, so that folks, regardless of what their personal engagement is in terms of how they move, right? They'll be able to access and enter in order to volunteer, to tour the house, to support in any way that makes sense for them, right? So we wanted to make sure that that was really important. So that is the next step as it relates to the front porch or the deck as the entryway into the home. In addition to that, we know that we still have the roof, right? I owe some people some materials in terms of a list. And then also, I'm putting this out here. We're looking for a general contractor. We're looking for someone that can help us really own this project, to share with us exactly what has to happen, what needs to happen, especially when it comes to pieces like the electrical and the plumbing. That is not my ministry. That is not my lane. I don't profess to know anything about that. And we have some really talented folks that have been helping with us, but certain things we want some licensed and some bonded people to be able to do to ensure the safety of all involved, right? So if you know of any general contractors that are looking to support, I'm not asking for free, right? We understand people deserve to be paid for their services. If it's something that you want to donate in terms of some of your time, awesome. But we're looking for a general contractor that can really help us own this project so that we know what the next immediate step should be in order for us to get this house completed by early fall. When I say early fall, I'm ambitious, y'all. Y'all know me. I want this house done by September. So that's the quick update in terms of the renovations that are happening. You all know that we are growing. I say it all the time. We're a small but mighty team. We are a growing team. And so there are still things that we're working through in terms of just really becoming a powerhouse, right, in this city. And so that just requires a little bit of patience and time with us. People have lots of opinions, and we welcome those that are rooted in love and sincerity, those that are rooted in, here's also my contribution. And contribution isn't always money, but time, skill, expertise in order for us to do and be and grow better. We welcome all of that, right? What I personally personally have challenge with is when folks have a lot of personal opinions about things without any suggestions or without any immediate support in that area, right? So help us continue to grow and serve these young people. Um, and as we look to serve and grow them, changes will come. Changes will come. And not just changes in how we do things, but changes in team, in people, and resources, because this is a living organism. For me, I don't like to call it an organization all the time, but more of an organism, because it is evolving, it is growing, it is changing, it is becoming something that is necessary for this city, for this time. And a lot of times people are asking us, how do we build our curriculum? Well, we build it not understanding that there has to be boundaries and parameters and structures, but we also leave enough flexibility for this to always be a youth-centered organism, a youth-centered program, meaning they then also get to influence what they see, what they need, what they engage with, and what they're experiencing, right? And so it's important for us to be able to build that flexibility into it. So that's why it's always going to be a living organism, because as young people come into the program, what their needs are for what we're able to provide may change slightly as they grow, as they mature, and as they come in with their own experiences. So I wanted to kind of give that quick update as well. The third update is, y'all, we're still fundraising. You may not have seen us post a lot over the last couple of weeks because a lot has been happening. Again, as we're growing this team, I want to shout out to Talea. We have a high school intern that is working with us. You all know that we celebrated the fact that we had an intern from KSU. Well, she has now transitioned to becoming a full member of the team. So she's no longer an intern, but she is being compensated for her time and her skills. So we're super excited to have Shandia on board, not just in the capacity where she's learning and receiving credit for her degree. Shout out to her for accomplishing that, but also her contributions are now being valued in a different way and compensated as well, as she helps us grow this work too. And so you'll start to see in the coming weeks a fresh look on our social media and on our website as well, as we begin to brand and make sure that folks have a really quick view as to all that is happening in our world over here in Hay. And then the last thing that I want to share with you is that you have seen us post a little bit about it, and hopefully you can see it here. But so Hay Hydrate, right? Hay Hydrate is a branded water that the majority of the boys that we work with sell. And not only are they still selling them with adult supervision, right, and approved locations, we're still looking for ways for you all to get involved. And this is how you can get involved with Hey Hydrate, which is a division or a program of helping empower youth as it relates directly to our youth water entrepreneurs, right? And so how can you help? Well, you can say, hey, Casey, I want to order a case, right? We'd love to sell you a 24-bottle case of Hey Hydrate water. You may know some private businesses, both restaurants, lounges, retail spaces that can buy in bulk from us and then sell the water in their stores as an alternative to the Aquafinas and the Dasanis, right? And the Essentias. This is a way for folks to give back and still offer a service to other folks. Everybody needs to be hydrated. Everybody needs water. And we know that it's about to get hot, right? We've experienced that a little bit. And so water is definitely something that we all should be looking to increase in terms of our intake, but also making sure that we have our hands on it. Also, if you have any upcoming events, right? We know that Juneteenth is coming. For those of you who celebrate in the traditional way, the 4th of July, we've got Labor Day, we've got festivals right, that abound in the city. You may be having a private event, you may be having a really big party, maybe you're just having a cookout with your friends. This is a great way for you to also support, right? Hopefully you will be providing water for those folks. And instead of you continuing to giving some of these bigger brands and big box companies the money, support the programming, support the youth water entrepreneurs that work with Hey by ordering Hey Hydrate. There's also an option for you to co-brand, meaning that if you want, and I probably should have grabbed one, but the Resurgence group, which is one of the Atlanta United supporter groups, they did just that, right? They co-branded. And so where you see the street sign, which is a nod to kind of how this, got started, we can put your logo here, right? Or we can put it near closer to the Hey Hydrate piece, but we can put your logo, your slogan, your tagline, whatever it is that you want. If you want something that is unique and specific to what you're ordering the water for. So if it is a special event, if it's a milestone birthday, if it's a conference, if it's just a party, right? Folks are doing custom things all the time. Then we'd love for you to consider Hey Hydrate as that option for you. But the best thing that you can do is just to spread the word, tell folks, still go to Don Bejos, right? It is a wine shop in Kirkwood where they were our first retailer, our first private retailer to get the water in their store on the shelves, and people have been buying it and sending us screenshots and pictures of them purchasing it. So we're super excited about that, and we'd love to expand that. So if you know of a purchaser, a buyer, again, for special events, for private retail locations, for restaurants, lounges, the like, then please hit us up and let us know. And we're working behind the scenes on some other things too that can really kind of show the young men, show the youth water entrepreneurs that while we personally don't think anything is wrong with them selling on their own, that there's so many other ways for them to be able to make money using e-commerce and doing business to business selling, right? So you all are always wondering, well, what is it that we're doing with them? And as we continue to support the programming, it's those types of things. We're taking them through modules, we're taking them through hands-on experiential learning of what it means to have a brand, have a business. We're growing, they're growing. And so we want to make sure that they have things to plug into, and that requires your help, right? That requires you being a part of it and making sure that we have what we need in order for them to get what they need as well. So those are the biggest updates that I wanted to share with you all. Please continue to donate to the organization. You see the banner at the bottom. You can text Hey Atlanta to 707070. You can basically text to give, right? You can go to paypal.me/Hey Atlanta, or you can go to Cash App using the cash tag, the $ helping empower youth. And for those of you who want something a little bit more traditional, here, I'll put this up for you. You can also go to pledge.to/Hey House, and that will allow you to go to the website. And when you go to the website, you'll be able to see, again, the updates of what it is that we have been working on and we have been doing. So let me take this off really quick so that you can see the site for those of you who would prefer. So there it is. So you can go to pledge.to/Hey House. And again, you'll see the updates for what has been happening with the house. Or if you're new to this and you are just getting caught up, you can see, again, the breakdown of what the fundraising dollars are going to, but also pictures of the house and why this is so important to us. I'll end with this and just say that, y'all, the summer is upon us. And while the actual calendar may not say that summer starts until June 20th or something like that, we know that school is out, which means summer is here for most Atlantans. And we are still working to provide productive and engaging opportunities for our young people. I'm so excited, and I saw my friend Matt Westmoreland post on his page that all of the city pools are open. That is phenomenal, considering that they've been closed for a better part of almost a year and a half. And we know why, right? We know why. But they're open, which means it gives young people another productive outlet in terms of how they can spend their time. But here's the reality. Not every child wants to swim. Not every child knows how to swim. So shout out to Trish Miller with Swim Kids, right? Making sure that our Black and brown babies know how to swim to dispel that myth. But not all of our babies and our children and our youth know how to swim. So they may not be comfortable going to the pools. Parents and caregivers may not be comfortable sending them to the pools. And so what I'm saying is that, yes, excited that every pool is open, but we have to have other options. We have to have other open opportunities for our young people. Summer camps are not open back up the way that they were before. And for those that are open, they are limiting and capping some of the students that can come back. So we're on our way back to whatever normalcy looks like, right? And maybe there's some things that don't need to go back to normal. But as we're working our way back to being able to engage the masses in a safe way, we still have to be very creative in making sure that young folks who don't have the familial support in terms of finances to get plugged into some of these specialized or nuanced camps, that organizations like ours who are willing to be a bit more flexible and work around what some of the challenges or limitations may be, that we have the appropriate funding and support to do so. A lot of us are quick to say, they need something to do. Well, this goes back to my earlier point around making suggestions that are rooted in seeing change and growth and not just your personal preference, right? I agree they need something to do, but you can't just say that and then not offer a suggestion, right? You can't just say they need to find something to do. They need to go somewhere else. They need to, figure out another way to be. You can't say those things and stop. You can't say those things and not either engage in some dialogue if you don't know the answer, but at least be willing and open, right, to understand what that process could look like. And if you don't know, you don't know, right? And again, that doesn't mean that you can't share what a very true sentiment may be, but then say, I don't have the answer, but here's how I can support. And again, support is not always finances. It is just, hey guys, nobody has all of the answers, but here's an organization or organism, right? A group of people that are trying to do something. Let's figure out how to continue to support them. And what I know, and I don't want to get too deep, but our words have power, right? And not just saying that as a cliche, but our words legitimately have power, which means that when the sound vibrations leave our mouth, it literally conspires with that which is in the atmosphere to return that same thing back to us. And so when you're talking about children as animals, when you're talking about them as they're no good, when you're talking about them as if there's nothing positive that you're going to see from their lives, and you are constantly speaking those things, then some children and some youth in their very realistic and normal immaturity, because they're kids, right, are going to say, well, if this is what you think of me, then this is exactly what I will be. Because we see that in our own lives. I listen to the elders in my life, and sometimes I have to check my own speech, because what I realize, if I'm always saying that I'm broke and I'm hurt and I'm lonely and I'm tired, then I'm broke, I'm lonely, I'm hurt, and I'm tired. Right? Because you subconsciously begin to show up as the thing that you are telling yourself you are each and every time. And this is not about being pie in the sky, but this is just basic psychology, folks. And so when you're always looking for something, let me just make this real plain for you. It's like when you're in a relationship, right? And you start scrolling through some stuff, you're going to find something. Doesn't mean that someone is doing something wrong, but your interpretation has already said that this was the proof that I needed, right? Because you don't have all the details. It's a little cloudy. And so you're going to make it be whatever it is that you need it to be to fit the narrative that you've already created in your mind. And it's the same thing with young people. When we create a narrative for them that is not wholly or holistically true, then that is all that we see from those young people. And that is why it's so important that those who work with us understand that we can check the behavior while encouraging the person, right? We can help redirect things that are not positive for their lives, right? Or decisions that are not rooted in wisdom or experience simply because they just don't know. But it also requires trust for us to say that's not the way to go, for them to say, I don't know, Miss Casey, I'm going to try it your way. I'm going to trust you, right? And then being able to encourage and empower the character that we're trying to develop while not harping so much on the behavior that isn't exhibiting the same thing. Another case in point, I have never said to any of these young men that we work with, oh, you shouldn't use that language. Regardless of the language they're using when they're talking about each other or talking about women, right? I sit back, I pause and wait. Sometimes I ask a question, well, was that necessary? Right? Never saying don't, can't, you're wrong. I would ask, is that necessary? Or sometimes I'll look up and I'll smile, right? And I just kind of give them a look like, well, try it again. What's something else you can do, right? And so instead of me telling them that they were wrong, what has now happened is that they self-manage. We were in the car the other day and there was 4 of them and they were talking and having these conversations, right? And they were talking about some little girl that they liked and they were using some words that were making me cringe. And I was about to get to that. Y'all, is that necessary? When one of them in the back seat said, yo, watch your mouth. Right? He was like, what'd I say? Right? Because this is language amongst them. And it was like, Miss Casey. And it's like, oh, my bad, Miss Casey. I'm sorry. You're right. I probably could have said that a little bit differently. Or I didn't have to use that word. Right? And I never had to say a word because I always made sure that I placed them in an environment where they could trust me. I don't let them get away with things, but I empower what I want them to be. And I focus less on the things that don't serve them. Right? And so that is what we all can continue to do. That has nothing to do with being a part of an organization. But as you look at the young people in your life, right? Whether they are some of the young men that come from the demographics that we serve, or they're young men that have very, safe, right? Both fiscally, financially, emotionally, physically safe environments. Young people are going to be young people. And so what we can do is focus more on what it is we want them to do, the behaviors we want them to exhibit, more so than the things that we do not like. And they will then, right? They will then come into agreement with those particular pieces. And the very last thing that I will share is that we have to be very, very conscious of how we perpetuate narratives in public spaces. And I have had to condition and discipline myself to pull back from commenting on a lot of things that I see in Facebook groups and on posts and all of that, because they serve no one, y'all. They serve no one. And again, if what you have to say does not also include a suggestion, doesn't also include support, then let's not say it, right? Some things we don't have to state the obvious for. And it's up to us as the village to ensure that we are protecting our young people in as many places as we possibly can. And there's tough love, and then there's just being rude and mean. And too many of us are being rude and mean and not exhibiting tough love, so that our young people know that we can be a safe space for them. So then when we do have to check the behavior while empowering the character and the person, then they'll come along a little faster, and we'll begin to see a bit more change. So just wanted to share that with you guys. Love y'all. Stay tuned. Please continue to support the work that we're doing. We cannot do this alone. We cannot do this without you. And I'll see you soon.